Rafael dos Anjos has explained why his fight with Islam Makhachev fell through. At UFC 272, the former UFC lightweight champion was scheduled to battle Rafael Fiziev. However, his opponent contracted COVID-19 just days before the bout and was forced to withdraw. Following such news, Islam Makhachev offered to fight dos Anjos on short notice. Stick around to find out what UFC President Dana White had to say about the bout that fell apart. First up, Dana White speaks out about Islam Makhachev and Rafael dos Anjos fight and why it fell through. Another UFC topic that has been spreading across the internet is the reason behind the bout that fell through between Islam Makhachev and Rafael dos Anjos. When Rafael Fiziev was forced to withdraw from UFC 272 due to COVID-19, it appeared for a brief period that a long-awaited clash between Islam Makhachev and Rafael dos Anjos would finally take place. Renato Moicano, Fiziev's replacement, joined the company less than 24 hours later. On Wednesday, UFC President Dana White disclosed that he assumed Makhachev had agreed to the fight until he received word that the Dagestani lightweight had declined. "I felt we had it done," White said of Makhachev versus dos Anjos to Barstool Sports. "I thought it was finished when I went to bed one of the nights. The next morning, I found out they had declined it. It was declined by Islam. I have no idea why." According to White, the UFC matchmakers began hunting for potential replacements as soon as Fiziev was taken off the event, with a slew of volunteers attempting to land the fight. After being paired up with dos Anjos on two separate occasions in 2020 and 2021, Makhachev was actually one of the first to suggest him as a viable opponent. He'd recently beaten Bobby Green at UFC Vegas a few days before. Makhachev even went back and forth on social media with dos Anjos about the prospective showdown. White, on the other hand, claimed that something had changed because he didn't take the fight. "The best war we could have had would have been against him and Islam. RDA and Islam," remarked White. "Islam refuses to combat. What is the most effective fight you can put up? Moicano." Moicano agreed to the battle despite the fact that he would have to fly nearly 20 hours from Brazil to the United States and cut down to 160 pounds for a 5-round catchweight contest. The Brazilian fighter landed in Las Vegas on Wednesday afternoon and will now meet dos Anjos in the UFC 272 co-main event. Despite competing a little less than a week ago, White expected Makhachev to take the fight with dos Anjos, which unfortunately did not happen. While all indicators previously pointed to Makhachev obtaining a title chance against the winner of the forthcoming lightweight title fight between Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje at UFC 274, he now appears to have more work to do before becoming the division's next #1 contender. Next up, Islam Makhachev responds to UFC President Dana White's response to canceled fight. In other very interesting related news, Islam Makhachev has responded to UFC President Dana White's accusation that he turned down the opportunity to fight Rafael dos Anjos in a last-minute match at UFC 272 this weekend. So dos Anjos was originally supposed to fight Rafael Fiziev in the co-main event of UFC 272. While it appeared that the two would fight on March 5th, it was revealed that the former lightweight champion would instead face Renato Moicano. Makhachev allegedly refused to fight for unclear reasons, according to Dana White. White claimed that he went to bed knowing that the battle was all set, that he awoke to learn of Makhachev's refusal. Makhachev retaliated on Twitter, laughing off Dana White's charges in a supposedly lighthearted remark. Instead of falling asleep, Makhachev advised that White should have stayed up late to book the fight. "Dana, you went to bed too early. You need to stay up late to get things done." Why is UFC star Paige VanZant leaving the UFC for AEW? Paige VanZant, a former UFC star, is scheduled to join All Elite Wrestling and begin a new career as a professional wrestler. Paige VanZant made the decision to pursue a new career as a professional wrestler. The 27-year-old former UFC star has already been on WWE's rival promotion, All Elite Wrestling's television show, multiple times. After her American Top Team manager verified the news on last night's AEW Rampage, she's expected to become the newest major name to join the roster. Following her first-round submission loss against Amanda Ribas, VanZant was released by the UFC in July 2020. The former Dancing with the Stars star was quickly signed by the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, albeit her time with the organization was short-lived. In February 2021, the former MMA strawweight and flyweight lost a unanimous decision to Britain Hart in her debut. In July, she was defeated by fellow UFC alum Rachel Ostovich by majority decision. "When I walked out of the ring, I didn't just head to my locker room. I literally walked all the way outside and I just went and cried in the parking lot by myself," VanZant admitted after the loss. "I said some things to my husband regarding my mental state that were very bad. I told him I didn't want to live any longer and that this wasn't the place for me." Although she had a great career within the UFC, it's clear that this is no longer the place for her, and it's good for her overall well-being. We're excited to see her make the switch towards AEW and what that career path may bring her. Next, horrific injury. Fighter leg snapped. When a fighter's leg snapped quickly while attempting a kick during a battle, MMA spectators were sick to their stomachs. MMA fighter Willem Smith's leg snapped in half during a a battle with Ivan Stridham at the Extreme Fighting Championship. According to The Sun, the horrible injury occurred during an EFC 92 event in Johannesburg, South Africa on Saturday. During the first round, the two men faced off in the middle of the ring, and Smith landed a left hand followed by a low kick to his fellow South African's left thigh. Stridham, on the other hand, kept his leg planted on the canvas, and the Viking's leg bent in half, and he collapsed to the ground. Thankfully, both Smith's opponent and the referee immediately recognized the severity of the injury, and no further strikes were delivered as he lay on the ground in pain before the bout was stopped. "It simply completely shattered," one EFC pundit stated. "The leg was simply dangling there. This sport reminds you all too often of how serious it is, and it's moments like this that tell you they're not messing around in there." Smith's condition has been updated on social media with the news that he is doing well. As he lay on a stretcher backstage, the MMA fighter shared a photo with Gareth McClellan. Colby Covington, the current UFC villain's rude call-out following win over Masvidal. Colby Covington destroyed Jorge Masvidal in their heated grudge bout, but his post-fight theatrics did not win him any new fans. Colby Covington won unanimously by scores of 49-46, 50-44, and 50-45 in the UFC's most heated rivalry, but the fight is far from finished. The former best friends had been squabbling for months leading up to the battle, and the bad blood was evident as both men entered the fight with a vicious expression on their faces. When asked if they wanted to touch gloves, neither man moved 1 inch as security surrounded the octagon. Masvidal made the initial move, attempting a jumping front kick, but it was blocked by both men who were looking for a knockout blow. Covington, on the other hand, quickly calmed down and used his superior wrestling skills to easily defeat Masvidal on points. Aside from a 4th-round strike that sent Covington to the canvas, the welterweight champion delivered a clinical effort. When Covington had to be shoved off Masvidal at the end of the final round and then blew him a kiss before grabbing his crotch, commentator Joe Rogan lost a $20 wager that the two would hug after the fight. In the ring, Covington was asked about his performance and the grudge match, but he ignored the question and instead called out second-ranked lightweight Dustin Poirier. "I recently cleaned up the streets of Miami. Now it's time to clean up the swamps of Louisiana," he remarked. "Didn't you say where you're at, Dustin Poirier?" Covington then exited the ring and walked away from the microphone. Covington's cocky behavior and attitude did not go over well with fans, who expressed their displeasure with him on Twitter. Following his bold statement, Dustin Poirier took to social media as well to respond, simply writing, "Maybe find a welterweight contender," instantly shutting down the cocky fighter. And there you have it, everything you need to know about the potential fight that ultimately fell through between Islam Makhachev and Rafael dos Anjos, and what Dana White had to say about it. Additionally, we also touched on former UFC star Paige Van Zandt and why she is transitioning into the professional wrestling world, an insanely gruesome injury that took place in South Africa that will shock you, and finally, Colby Covington and how fans were disgusted at his trash talk following his victory over Masvidal. Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below, and if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss any of our new and upcoming content. Thanks for watching!